All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the drivers meeting for the rally tomorrow, Rose Petals and Gas Pedals. Thank you for joining us. My name is Peter Bollenbecker. I'm the regional executive here for San Diego, new rallyist, myself as well. And I'm going to be doing the first part of the presentation here. Tracy Kretsch will be doing the second half, covering most of the RICTA stuff. So we did do a novice meeting last Friday. If anyone missed that and is interested as well, we will send that out on an email after this meeting. So you can have that link and rewatch it as well as this. Not that there's a lot of time to do that before tomorrow morning, but you will be able to. So, all right, looking at the road rally, safety, of course, first priority for all of our events. So I think we've got just about everybody signed up with a navigator and driver. Both are required. So that the navigator will have the route instructions and keeping the driver on course and letting the driver focus on the driving. Keeping to street legal road speeds. Everything we'll do will be at or under speed limit in order for you to achieve your time. So no need to be speeding on course. Another thing that we will be doing this time around is, encouraging you to not excessively slow, stop, or speed. We've done our first couple of rallies where really there was an ability to pull over before the checkpoint as we were all getting familiar with this. There will probably be some more challenge in this one in that there's no guarantee that there is a place to pull over prior to any of the checkpoints, which means you'll really need to focus on your average speed. And the anticipation is being able to pass by that checkpoint at the required time. So in light of that, we will spend some extra time, and Tracy will be doing this, covering the time allowances that are available to you in the RICTA app to make those corrections for any late arrivals to a checkpoint. And just a reminder, there's a link down there for COVID safety protocols for our events. Please take a look and review those. They will be the same as last events for those of you who were there. We ask that you do wear a face covering when you arrive at the event and interact with any of the staff. And then same thing would go at any checkpoints or, prior to the start, waiting for your departure. So there is, maybe go on to the next slide. So there will be a little out of order here related to COVID. There's no check-in or registration or table for you to check in at the start. It's basically an arrive and drive. But we will talk a little bit about just making sure we get cars out in order and at the right time. But there is no formal registration or check-in. A couple of reminders, route instructions. You should have all received those by now. Make sure you print those out. We will not have copies available at the start location. Helmets, not required. So no need, no worries about that. We've gotten a few questions. Restarts on course, for those of you that have looked at the route directions. The key time that is listed in the route instructions for those is your departure time. Obviously, that departure time plus your car number. There is no score associated with either departing or leaving that checkpoint at any given time. And the other thing to remember is when you are departing it at the specified location, make sure to go ahead and reset your odometer because the rest of the route instructions until the next restart will be based on a 0 odometer from leaving that point. And then numbers are not required on your car. We will be trying to call out for car numbers at the start location just to make sure we get everybody off and leaving. Cars will leave on the minute, which is based on your car number. So we have a start time of 9 o'clock. So if you're car 1, you'll start at 9:01. If you're car 2, you'll start at 9:02, and so on from there. So we can go ahead and flip to the next page. So I guess I got a little ahead of there. So start time, we just kind of went over. So what we ask is that you arrive 10 to 15 minutes and not more than that before your start time. Purpose of that is just to keep the group size down for our COVID reg compliance, and also because our start location is a public location, so we don't want to have 70 cars there all at once. It allows us to be a little better neighbor for that. So about 5 minutes before your actual start time is when we will ask you to check in or want you to check in and bring your car up to where the starter will be located. That'll be the guy walking around with a bullhorn, which will be me, yelling out car numbers and trying to get everybody out. So that will be the process for when you arrive. And we've got a little map of that, and we'll go over it in just a minute here. So and then again, just a reminder, route directions, checkpoint, and restart times are all based on that, plus your car number. So make sure if you've gone and prepared for that, that you've gone ahead and made that, or do that mental math in your head as the course goes on. So tomorrow morning, before leaving the house, a couple of things, just friendly reminders. Make sure your phone is fully charged, or that you can also plug it in if you like, to keep power, or have a brick with you. Should not need any of those. A fully charged phone should be able to handle the duration of the route with no problem. We have not had a problem yet, but obviously just if it's a possibility, better to have a plan for it. Route instructions printed, as we've said, because we will not have those available, placed on a clipboard or whatever works for you and your navigator. Full tank of gas to start. Route's about between 50 and 75 miles. And then if you're electric, make sure you get a full charge. And of course, safety stop for everyone before leaving on the day trip. So at the start location, a couple of things other than physically getting to the start. You want to make sure that you open the RICTA competitor app. So I know everybody's gotten the route instructions. We validated that everybody's gotten signed in to the event, but just make sure, a little bit beforehand, so you're not rushing at the last minute, that you've got that open. Make sure you've got that GPS signal with an accuracy showing up. And then as you approach the start, your phone will detect a test checkpoint. So you will see CP1 come up on the app in the phone prior to actually departing the start location. If there's a problem with that, just go ahead, turn around, return, and check in. NAD ask for help. Nice typo. And ask for help. We'll go ahead and get you sorted as may need be. Next slide. So a couple of things, troubleshooting. So again, if your phone doesn't register GPS accuracy or checkpoint start, go ahead and return. We'll go ahead and help you out if there's a potential problem with the app or phone. And then also just make sure your phone is on the dash or mounted to a window suction mount, ideally with a clear view. That always helps with the GPS accuracy versus keeping it in the cabin or elsewhere in your vehicle. If you get lost on course, the best thing, and you can't find your way back, is go ahead and send an email. Include your car, your name, and your cell phone number, and that's a critical one because otherwise I won't know how to call you back, to ricksenior@gmail.com. And then if your phone rings shortly thereafter, go ahead and assume that's Rick giving you a call to help you get back on course as may be needed, and to help you correct for any delays. So if your phone does not show any checkpoint times or apps during the course, chances are that it is actually fine and is continuing to register those checkpoints. But as a backup, go ahead and you can record those checkpoint times manually. Usually what happens though is someone has touched the screen and it's just moved on to a different view. Going from there. So this is the actual start location that you should have seen in your instructions. The address is 13487 Camino Cañada, El Cajon, California. It is a Walmart parking lot, so Walmart Supercenter, just off the freeway. And when you exit the freeway, you can see the off-ramp there in the upper left of that picture. Just make sure you proceed up that hill. Kind of looks like it's a flat location, but you won't actually see the Walmart or the parking lot when you exit, but just follow that light straight through up on Las Cochas Road. Enter the parking lot to where you see the park location. So we should have probably at any given time 10 to 15 cars parked up there. As you get within 5 minutes of your start, go ahead and pull up to where the red dot starter location is, and we'll make sure we get you out in the right order. By that time, you should have your RICTA competitor app open and checked. And then as you proceed along the back of the parking lot, you see where there's a test checkpoint. That should trigger. If it does, then go ahead and continue on to the route instructions, which begins with numbered route instruction 1 and 2, and then you'll be on your way for the course for the day. So that should do it. Just a reminder that the first leg of the course out to the first restart point is not counted for your score. So that is really for you to perform an odometer verification. So there's a given mileage for that leg, and what you can do is make sure that your mileage on your odometer indeed matches that. Or if it is off slightly, then you just know you'll need to perhaps make that little bit of correction as you go through the remainder of the course. So at that point, I'm probably going to turn it over, I believe, for the RICTA app to Tracy, but do we have any questions in chat or anything else, Eric?
Nope. People just like to talk, like to hear your cat, I guess.
All right. So we'll move on, and I think I'll turn it over to Tracy at this point.
Thank you, Peter. Appreciate it. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us for tonight's driver meeting. My name is Tracy Kretsch. I am still a newbie, getting ready for my third road rally tomorrow. So super excited. Glad you guys are all joining us as well. So we're looking forward to having a really good time. We're going to walk through the RICTA app, which is the app that we utilize through our road rallies. And I also want to talk about some of the time allowances. That's something that causes a lot of questions and confusions. So we're going to go through that, but we're also going to chat about the app itself. So what we're showing you here on the screen is a little screenshot from our earlier run, which is called It's a Pie Run, which was a fun little one. So when you're utilizing the app, and again, this is all really designed for navigators. Drivers, please just drive, just watch the road, let your navigator handle this. He or she's got that. So navigators, just make sure when you open up the app, make sure that your rally clock is running. That's just something you want to just kind of keep an eye on, make sure that you don't lose connectivity. You're also going to want to check for GPS accuracy. Just realize that you may not be exactly spot on. You're going to probably be pretty close. You may also have another phone where you're also kind of checking that GPS accuracy. Just make sure that it's looking, pretty good, that you are seeing some movement there. As Peter kind of went through, you're going to verify that very first checkpoint before the start. And this is the one that's really just kind of to make sure that it's working for you. Don't worry if you hear a beep on it. That's something perfectly normal. So you're going to see that. If you do have an iPhone and you're not utilizing Android devices, just make sure before tomorrow that you do enable the sounds with the physical silent switch that's on the side of the phone, because you do want to hear the beeps. That makes sure that you know you've cleared the correct checkpoint. All right. So time allowances. First of all, time allowances, don't have to use them. Don't have to listen to the time allowances part. Don't have to ever know anything about them. But if you are interested in a little competitive type of driving, here's where time allowances can come into handy. As Peter mentioned, we're going to be driving on regular roads. So we don't have any designated course, no special course. We've got everyday kind of weekend traffic out there with us. The reason we use time allowances, it helps us to handle the delays and the late arrival. And it's going to basically help us to improve our overall driving score. And we're probably a little bit competitive, so we all want a pretty good score. Now, just remember that time allowances, while they have a lot of functionalities, they can't correct for anything earlier than your checkpoint time. That's really what they're designed to handle. And again, no penalties for time allowance. They do help. You don't get dinged for using them, and they are definitely can be helpful, especially in traffic. So when you use the time allowances, they do have to be applied before the checkpoint. And then what's going to happen is once you trigger that very first use of a time allowance, it is going to apply to all subsequent checkpoints until you hit that next restart. And there are a few restarts throughout our course tomorrow. What you'll do is you'll press the TA plus button to achieve the right correction for your late arrival to that checkpoint. And then you're going to use the TA minus if maybe you got a little heavy-handed and maybe you gave yourself a little bit too much time, or maybe traffic magically cleared up and now you've got a pretty clear path. All right, so that's a lot of information on the TA plus and the TA minuses. And we'll go into a couple of examples here. So just know that when you're utilizing the time allowances, that they are cumulative. And again, this is up until we hit that restart. So the first time you use a TA plus, it's going to add 10 seconds for a 10-second correction. The second one is going to be 20 seconds, which brings you cumulatively up to about 30 seconds, and on through the third and fourth. Now, once you get to the fourth TA plus, basically you're going to hit 1 minute increments, and it goes up to a maximum of about 19 minutes and 30 seconds. So when you get to the next course reset point, the time allowances will just zero out and you're going to start all over again. So the TA increments can't be changed, and they're going to work in the same, but in reverse when we talk about the TA minuses. All right, so let's talk first about an example for using a TA plus. So you can see the traffic in front of you. You are definitely going to be late to that checkpoint. So before you get to that checkpoint, if you press the TA, this is going to help you to accumulate the approximate amount of time that you're going to be late. So remember, we're going to start with 10-second increments. So if your target time to get to a checkpoint is 12:35 and you see traffic and I'm never going to get there in the next couple seconds. And so now at this point, you're going to run at least 8 seconds late, maybe even a little bit longer. So before you get to that checkpoint, if you hit the TA plus on the app just a single time, this is going to give you 10 seconds. So this is going to make your new target time to arrive at that checkpoint 12:35 and 10 seconds. So this is going to help you out a little bit there. Now let's say that you need a little bit more than 10 seconds. Again, remember that these are cumulative. So if you press the TA plus again, this is going to help you to adjust your average speed and help you to account for traffic and getting closer to that checkpoint in a better time frame. TA minuses. So if you arrive sooner than or on time compared to your last late checkpoint, again, or maybe you just got a little heavy-handed and your navigator was pressing the button a few too many times, you can adjust the time allowances back down with the TA minus. Now, just remember that when you're using this, you can't correct for an earlier arrival time than the designated checkpoint time on the route instructions. It just helps you to kind of take back a little bit of time if you've given yourself a little too much early on. So if you take a 10-second TA plus at the last checkpoint, but now you expect that for the next checkpoint, you're going to make it. You're going to be right on time. Traffic is clear. Great. You're going to make it. So what you can do is you can hit the TA minus button just a single time. That will help to remove 10 seconds, and that'll bring your time allowance back down to, aught. So you should be kind of zeroed out at that point. This will let you arrive at the checkpoint at the regular designated time based on your route instructions. And again, remember, we talked about what the maximum was for the TA plus, and it also works in reverse for the TA minus. So the maximum amount of time that you can remove is 19 minutes and 30 seconds. But you can't ever go less than that aught. That's kind of zeroed out cumulative allowance. All right, so before we continue on, Eric, are there any questions at all in the chat area?
Nope, I think everybody's handling the chat, such as Peter and Rick, straight away.
Perfect. All right, great, thank you. All right, so we just want to make sure that everyone has a really good time tomorrow. So thanks for joining us. Again, remember, we're here to be competitive and have fun, and we've got a really very exciting road plan for tomorrow. So we're looking forward to seeing everyone kind of as we're going by. I think as Peter had mentioned early on, there will be no event to celebrate afterwards, but we're hoping to get back to that soon. Again, hopefully you have a chance to work with the time allowance process. It is pretty fun to play around with. So if you do get a chance, navigators, kind of throw an eye on that and see how that works for you. Again, remember, if you have any questions at all, look for someone with a bullhorn or a vest tomorrow. Reach out to ricksenior@gmail.com. And most of all, have a great time tomorrow. Look forward to seeing everyone on the road. Thank you, everyone.
Awesome. Thanks, Tracy. Thanks, Peter, again. Just one last reminder, if you did end up showing up late to the live stream, you can rewind at this point and start again. Feel free to do that now. The link will still be valid going forward, so you feel free to review it anytime between now and forever. Again, just as Tracy said, appreciate you guys all tuning in, and we will see you in the morning.